Welcome to lesson 4.3. What are we going to learn today? To multiply fractions and a mixed number, and to multiply mixed numbers. Now before we jump into this lesson, I want to go back over how do we change a mixed number into a fraction. So let's say, so it's going to make it an improper fraction. So let's say we have 1 and 1/2. Now, how do I change that back to an improper fraction? I take changing color, sorry. I take 2 and I multiply it to 1, and that gets me 2, and then I add the top number. So 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So now it changes to 3. I keep my same denominator, halves. So now I have 1.5 changes to 3 halves. In order to multiply mixed numbers, we have to change them back to improper fractions. So let's do another one. Let's say I have 3 and 4/5. Okay, so 3 and 4/5. So my first step that I need to do is I start with my denominator. I always start in the bottom, and I multiply that times 3. So 5 multiplied by 3 is 15, and I add the 4, so 3 times 5 is 15, plus 4 would be 16, 17, 18, 19. So my top number, or my numerator, is 19 over, keep the same denominator, 5. So a couple of things to be careful here is that we always keep the same denominator, and we multiply. We start at the bottom, we multiply, then we add. It's just a big circle that takes us around. Let's do one more, just so we have a little bit extra practice. So we have, let's do 2 and 3/4. So the first thing we need to do is take 4 and times it by 3. So we put a little times there. That's just to show you. So 4 times 2, excuse me, not 3. 4 times 2 is 8. And then we add the 3. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 9, 10, 11. So it becomes 11 over, keep our denominator, same denominator, 4. So 2 and 3/4 becomes 11/4. Okay, so there's just a quick little reminder in case you forgot of how we switch those around. So now let's look at some examples. First, find 1/3 times 1 3/4. Write in simplest form. So if we estimate using compatible numbers, 1/2, 1/3 is close to 1/2, and 1 3/4 is close to 2. So it's going to be about 1. So let's see. 1/3 times 1 3/4 equals 1 3/4. We have to write 1 3/4 is 7/4. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So then now we can multiply numerators to numerators, denominators to denominators. So when we multiply those out, we end up with 7/12. Because 1 times 7 is 7, and 3 times 4 is 12. Is it simplified? Why, yes, it is simplified. Okay, here's your first journal example. 1/3 times 6 and 3/7. Remember, you need to change 6 and 3/7 into an improper fraction. Okay, our next example, find 5 and 1/2, multiply it by 1/3. So 5 and 1/2 times 1/3 equals something times 1/3. Other words, we need to write 5 and 1/2 as an improper fraction. So 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Keep the same denominator, so it has 2. So now we have 11 times 1 and 2 times 3. There, watch that come up, and then we would get 11 over 6, or To switch it back, now we just divide 6 into 11. 6 goes into 11 one time. There's 5 left over once we subtract 6 from that, and then we keep the same denominator again. If you notice, there's a little pattern. We're always keeping the same denominator. All right, so here's your second example. Find 4 and 5/6 multiplied by 1/5. Remember, change that mixed number into a fraction. Okay, moving on to the next one. Find 1 and 7/8 times 3 and 1/3. This time we have to change both of them into an improper fraction before we can multiply. So we take 1 and 7/8 and we change it to 15/8. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 7 gives us 15. Keep the same denominator. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10, so we have 10 over 3. We multiply those. Again, we can cross simplify, and this one we can cross simplify both of them because 3 and 15 will simplify and 8 and 10 will simplify. Now we end up with 5 times 5, which is 25, and 4 times 1, which is 4. Now we can't leave it as an improper fraction, so we divide 4 into 25, and it goes 6 times with 1 left over, and it's 1/4. Okay, here's your third one for you to do. 3 and 3/4 times 2 and 4/5. Write this down in your journal. Stop the video if you want to do it right now. Let it run if you want it to keep going. It's up to you when you do the problems. You just need to have them done. Okay, the Hoover Dam contains 4.5 million cubic yards of concrete. The Grand Coulee Dam in Washington State contains 2 2/3 times as much concrete. How much concrete does it contain? So we can estimate, and then we change these into improper fractions once again by multiplying the denominator to the whole number, adding the numerator and getting 9, keeping the same denominator. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8 over 3. Now we just simply set it up as a normal problem, but once again, we can cross simplify. 3 ones times 4 over 1 equals 12 over 1, or we can drop the 1 and we just have 12. There are 12 million cubic yards of concrete in the Grand Coulee Dam. Look at our estimation, worked out perfect. 12 is equal to 12. And here's your last problem. Andriana is baking banana bread for a class bake sale. The recipe calls for 1 3/4 cups brown sugar. She is making 5 1/2 times the recipe. How much brown sugar does Adriana need? Again, this is your last one, number 4, your turn. Okay, so remember you need, in your lesson, you need lesson 4.4, the sentence, the date, and your problems. Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow.